It's Wednesday, which means we're back in the pavilion with another Pink Slip to Power Move story. If you're not already following or subscribed, make sure you do so you never miss a story. This week we have the inspiring Adrianne Rickson sharing her story from wrongfully terminated to self-created CEO.
This pink slips the start, not the end.
Welcome, Adrianne, to the Pink Slip Pavilion. We're so excited to have you here and to join us with your story. We have to start with the most important question. Have you ever gotten a pink slip?
Obviously, that's why I'm here, and I've received more than one pink slip, and it's typically for doing the right thing under the wrong company.
There's a lot to unpack there. So take us back to, you've mentioned you've gotten multiple. Let's talk
Right.
through mindset. And I don't know if you want to cover every single one or if there's a couple that you want to highlight, but let's go back to the moment in time and your mindset, where you were in life, what was going on.
So, I have been a college teacher for over 20 years of criminal justice, and um, when the first one happened to me, it was out of left field, and so it was the first. I was actually the manager of the entire department, so I worked my way up, worked my way up, worked my way up, and then when this happened, I was like, oh, and I just immediately felt like evil all around it, and I was like, I knew I didn't want to be at that place anyway because it was proprietary. So I was like, okay, like whatever. But I'm like, I'm not going down alone. So I actually like back at them, I was like, if you're gonna do this, you're gonna pay me. And so I got a pretty good amount of money out of them to keep my mouth shut and to not go to the news and to not do a lot of things. That was, like what, 2018 or something like that. And then I started teaching high school. I didn't think I would like high school criminal justice because, like, I like the F-bomb. It's a noun, it's a verb, it's a pronoun. It releases good energy, bad energy, night. So I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And it was the best job ever. I had AM students and PM students, 2.5 hours a day, such an impact. And so, like, one of them said I saved him from suicide. I was like, buddy, that's you. Luckily, and then COVID hit and I stood up for our constitutional rights, freedom of choice. And it was the union president and the superintendent that hand plucked me and just made me disappear. And I just disappeared. And the principals were like, what happened? Are you going to be back? And I was like, this is kind of like, you should be knowing this. And so I was like, I am going to be back. I knew it in my heart and my soul. And I was probationary. And so in New York State, they say if you're a probationary teacher and it's 4 years on probation, so that was my year 3, that they can fire you for the color of your shoes.
Mm.
Well, I fought it in state ed and I won, and I set precedent in New York State that probationary teachers cannot be just fired for no reason. And they reinstated me. And the commissioner coerced, did what was right for my reinstatement. And everybody's like, I can't believe it. Oh my gosh, this is so great. Everything it's over. And I was like, no, it's not. They are going to be coming for me. And they did. They came for me and they discontinued my probationary status. And like this started in 2022 and then in February, and then in May of 2022, my daughter was killed. And so, oddly, I took it as like, because when I got fired in February, they ripped me of my 60 students, and like getting out of bed was hard. Like I started working out. I started my business because of all of this, but to start, I was crushed and I was still fighting, but getting out of bed was really, really, really difficult because my identity got taken from me. My students got taken from me. And then 2 months later, for my actual daughter to get taken from me because of everything that I had to do to fight to be alive for those 2 months, to like not just stay in bed and to like show up for my husband and kids, and like all of that set a playing ground for like God taking my daughter back home. And so I knew the morning we had to like call her time of death. And I don't know if you can see it, but she was 22 years, 2 months, 20 days, 2 hours, and 22 minutes
Oh
of
my
age when we had to call her time of death. And I saw her in the sky with God, and I knew that everything was okay. And I knew, like, it sucked. It sucked. Still sucks, But she's with me every day now. And it's, I had to learn it's not what happens to me, it's what happens for me.
Mm.
And I saw so much like her struggle with her body, like her shell. We call this, us woo-woo people, like a bag of bones. And our souls and our spirits like have to learn how to like navigate this bag of bones. And so when my identity got ripped and then my kid got ripped and then like everything, I either had to leave this planet or I found a spiritual coach that helped me to really be like, it's not about me. It's about what I have to offer. And that's when I birthed my business, Manifest Your Excellence. And, it came from the universe. And I started off in grief coaching. And I realized it was a lot. It was a lot for me. But the other thing is like, I'm looking for women who want to rise. And so many moms that lost their children feel guilty for rising. And so I personally couldn't stay stuck in that. I still, I mean, mourning, grief, it's every day, we have to constantly release it from our bodies. And so then I went into fitness and I'm like, because I'm not, clearly, I'm not a calm, compassionate, like I'm more of a motivator. Like, let's go. Where do you want to, how do you want to, what do you, and that's not what women who lost their child are looking for or need. I was like a one percenter that needed that. So I was like, so I just took a little shift, a little pivot, and it's birthed my business. And like I'm thrilled, and I do it for my Katie. Her name is Katrin Rose, and I everything I do is for her, through her, with her. I get her every day now. Anybody that's lost anybody, you have their spirits with you every moment of every day. And the moment I call on her, I hear her and she's my little cheerleader.
There's so much there because you mentioned self-identity, which is a huge thing in a layoff. A lot of us tie our worth to our jobs, our identity to our jobs. But if you think about it, it is grief in a way because it's our social circles, it's our finances, it's who we believe that we are in the world. But then on top of that, losing your daughter, and I'm so sorry for your loss, but I'm so just inspired by you
Mhm.
rising. And I know that there's going to be a mom that listens to this podcast, and because you're moving forward and you're rising, she's going to feel like she can too. Oh man, I'm going to get emotional. But I just want to highlight it is mindset. Like you made a choice in every single circumstance to say, okay, am I going to rise today? Am I going to keep moving forward or am I going to live here? And I often see with my guests, ironically, that when it rains, it pours. So a lot of these
Mm.
conversations I've had, it's been a layoff or a wrongful termination, followed by the loss of a family member, followed by a divorce, just this massive shakeup in time. So I want to go back to, we've talked about where you were, what was going on. How did your mindset evolve? Like now, where you are and in all your glory, how has your mindset shifted from then to now?
I couldn't have done it alone. And that's why I became a coach, is because I needed a coach. And I needed the accountability. I needed the motivation. And it mindset starts with soul and spirituality. And I really had to go on a deep dive on the inside because losing all of that shredded my nervous system. And so I wasn't sleeping. I was waking at that 3 a.m. wake up that, and I'm like, okay, if the spirits want to talk to me, talk to me. And they do, at that 3 to 4 a.m. they do. And so, but then like anxiety attacks and panic and like being like my boys had to deal with so much like when your nervous system is shredded, you don't have tolerance for anything. You don't have you just don't have control over your physiological body. And so that is like I started going to metabolic gym when like to get my butt out of bed. That was like I think the first mindset shift of like I can't do this like for my husband, like for my boys, my sons. And for Kate, Kate doesn't, when our children, wives, husbands, when our people leave us, they don't want us in a puddle, miserable. And I was miserable, like I, from the inside out. And I was like, this is not me. This is not that, like, I have always been the energizer bunny. I have always been, I can run circles. I don't get tired. I wake up like this. This is caffeine free, people. And so it was such a split. And like grief is everywhere. Even because now like I'm coaching like peri and menopausal women, like when each phase of our life, like we change every 7 years. So every 7 years, there's grief that goes through our body that we don't even know. That if we don't release it, it stays. And that's when you open an email and you get that, or somebody leaves you a message, or you see somebody and you're like, and it's like, if you're carrying that, that's poison and it's killing you. Like, I've forgiven everybody to include Kate's killer, and I do believe I'm going to write a book with him when the time is right. But like, it's choice. Mindset is choice, and you have to choose the hard path. And there was this commercial, the Hardaways, that when my husband and I first got together, like 20 plus years ago, and it was a woman, and it was like when the phones still had the long line, and she always did everything hard, and he's always called me a Hardaway. And because I take every hard path that there is, because that is the path with the greatest reward. And so with all of this, like I stayed where I had to stay for as long as I needed to stay. And that was, months. Um, I know women that have stayed in their grief for 30 years. And so it takes getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And it usually takes hiring a coach to hold you to that uncomfortability and to like push that envelope. So I've really done some deep dives. And then I have a business coach, and then I have a breathing coach now. I mean, if I'm going to be a coach, I have to hire coaches because I have to keep getting better to help other people. But that mindset and how it like, and in a day, it'll be up here and then it'll go down, and just noticing it. Like, I'm human. I'm having to
Yeah.
deal with this bag of bones that is carrying not just the trauma of the terminations and my daughter, but all the childhood trauma. Like we all have it when our mother brings us to daycare. That's traumatizing. When we have to go to school, and it's all stuff that has to happen, but our nervous systems hold all of these little things that we don't even know about. And so God blesses me to be able to share that and help cure women. And so, like I said, mindset, emotions, it's a constant roller coaster. But when you check in, you're able to see it. If you're not checking in with your body, then you just can't see it. You don't know it. And that's when I want to say envelops. I don't know that, like, I think that's the right word, but it consumes you. It envelops you and consumes you. And that's what autoimmune diseases are. That's what a lot of these sicknesses and cancer are, is not listening to the signals that our body's given us. A headache is a sign. Acid reflux is a sign. They're all, and so I'm just paying more attention to the signs to be more mindful and constantly working really hard on myself.
There's two things you said there that like I really, really want to zoom in on. And one is checking in with yourself, because oftentimes the first time we check in with ourselves in just our how are we doing, how are we moving through the world, is in a moment of layoff, because all of a sudden we have all this time. And so it's this moment that can be beautiful to go, let me check in. what am I not serving that my body needs, my mind needs, my spirit needs? What have I wanted for a long time that I've put on the back burner? And I really need to be healthy and be regulated and to show up as the best version of myself. You highlighted, showing up for your children, showing up for your husband. Oftentimes women need to show up for other people, and sometimes we show up for other people more than we show up for ourselves. So I just want to zoom in on that because that's such a beautiful call out of creating the space to allow yourself to feel what you need to feel to move through. You don't have to wake up and be okay every day, but making a choice every day to honor where you are, take inventory of where you are, and then decide where you want to be, I think is such a crucial part of getting through any grief, but especially a layoff. You can't live there, but then also you highlighted coaches and community. You can hire coaches, but you can also build a community, tap into this community, and find people that want to uplift you, that want to speak life into you, that want to keep you moving forward, get you to rise out of your layoff versus, I'm so sorry. What are you going to do next? And kind of building the anxiety of, well, what am I going to do next? How am I going to pay my bills? That community piece is so important when you're walking through these things.
Absolutely. And you're spot on. Like, so we are the sum of the five people that we hang out with.
Yeah.
And so you nailed it. Like after Kate got killed, like people like every like the funeral, like the went for like a mile out the door. Like it was
Wow.
freaking incredible. But I had to hear I'm so sorry and condolences like 6,000 times. And I'm a vibration person. And so I'm also like, God gave me the experience to give the voice of when somebody's killed, when somebody's fired, just like you said, like anything like the I'm so sorry brings the vibration down. I would rather be like, rock on, mama, you are still alive. Like I'm so sorry versus you're alive. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I would do if I was you and you're freaking killing it right now. And so everybody's like, nobody knows what to say. Nobody knows what to do. And I think that checking in with yourself and that takes silence, which has been really hard for me for everything that I've ran from for my whole life. And then all of this, like, way easier to run than to sit still. And so the stillness, the calmness, and the going inside of my body to see like what's not aligned, what needs releasing. In my program, I call it you find it, feel it, free it, heal it. And that's like you gotta check in from a quiet place. I have one client that she's always run into the medium. And I'm like, we are all gifted mediums and we don't have to go anywhere. You just have to be quiet and check like you get the downloads, you get the clairvoyance, but it takes not running. It takes peace and quiet and it takes practice. And it's hard.
And quiet is even harder nowadays because we are so plugged in, we are so connected. There's always some sort of noise going on. If you're in the car, you're listening to something. If you're working, you're often listening to something or engaged in something, and then we're talking to other people. And so there's this constant noise. And so finding that quiet can be very hard. And then once you're in it, it can be very, very challenging to sit still in it and listen to your internal dialogue. And there's even something there of what am I telling myself that I don't realize I'm telling myself because I'm tuning it out, but subconsciously on repeat, maybe I'm telling myself, I won't know, I don't know when I'm going to get my next job and I won't be able to pay my bills. And now you're reaffirming all these fears
I
because
suck.
yeah, exactly. Like, what's
Yeah.
wrong with me? Why me? It's like we got to stop the tape and we got to rewind it and rewire it to actually uplift us. So, with that, I want to go into blessings because it sounds like there's so many blessings that have come through a lot of hardship in this experience. What would you have missed out on? What blessings would you have missed out on had you not gone through your wrongful termination?
I think that the spiritual awakening, the discovery of self, it did ease the blow of my daughter being killed. Um, and it showed me I'm not meant to be tamed.
I
It
love
showed
that.
me like I'm not meant to be in an institution. When I started this job, my mom was like, Deed, because I also go by Dee Dee, Deed, like, just be quiet for 4 years. And I was like, no, that can't happen. Of course not. And like right before the 4 year mark is when it happened. And it's a sign. It's not what happens to me, it's what happens for me.
Mm.
And the more we can just like, that is a mindset shift, right? That is something that takes you from a victim to a survivor to a perseverer to, a lion. And so it helped me find my voice. It showed me that I was running, that it's easier to run and easier to hide in plain sight, being loud, than to show up vulnerable, authentic,
Mm.
and relatable, to help other people in God's name, in God's will. And so it was, yeah, it took a lot. It took a lot, man. It did not just happen overnight. Like it felt shitty. It felt crushing, like mind blowing, like rocks on top of rocks on top of rocks on top of me. And like I said, it took coaches to show me the way, to show me the path to grow and to keep taking that hard road, but take it a little bit different, not running, more peacefully.
Well, and walking is just as powerful as running, and you're not going to run in every season of life, right? I think sometimes we have this idea in society that we're supposed to be running constantly and growing constantly, and winters are important too. So sometimes you have to go into your winter and really go back in and go, what do I need? What do I need to release? And how can I grow through this and come back with new growth and the new version of myself that maybe I'm being called to?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's where the business got birthed from, was
Love it.
all of this pain, suffering, and gifts. At the end of the day, I see it all as gifts and freedom,
Huge.
freedom from the confines.
Huge. So if you could go back in time, knowing what you know now, go
Right.
back in time to when you're getting your pink slip, what would you want that version of yourself to know? What would you want to say to her?
It goes back to that everything happens for you, not to you. And when you can see that everything is already worked out for me, like God has always provided, universe, like whatever source, whatever you call it, there is something bigger and it's always worked out. And so any of the fear, any of the like, because there was that exactly like you talked about, that self-talk that I just push down because I'm really good at running and controlling my own emotions because I'm a Taurus, We're we're stubborn and it, don't do that. Don't push it down and push it away. All of the negative feelings, all of your fears, all of everything you perceive as negative, let them come up and out. We should be writing them. I do it every morning. I do an emotional dump, and I start with like all of this crap I'm telling myself about how terrible I am and I suck and I can't do this and I can't do that and I'm afraid of this. I'm fear existential kink. It's a book. She's amazing, and it's that fear journal. And we're taught in society to like not fear anything. And I thought I'm a pretty fearless girl. And then I started my own business, and I was like, oh dear, I just repressed all of those.
Hmm.
So repressing our fears only magnifies them in our subconscious and in our identity, which that's 95 horses running us is our subconscious. Our conscious is only five. And so you're going to lose if you're not tapping into your subconscious and rewiring it, rewriting it, reframing it. And it's not that we suck, but we all feel it at some point, and so we have to free it. And so the biggest thing is just to free, like bring them up, talk to them, acknowledge them. Don't push them down and away. All your negative talk, because the only way to free them is to face them.
And release them. Let them go.
Yep.
Let the thoughts float. Bring in new
Yep.
ones. Bring in more uplifting, more healing, whatever it is that you need in whatever season that you're in.
And like you said, and then I said, and then I'm saying it again, it's the five people
Yeah.
that you hang out with that are that. So if they're alcoholics and druggies, even if it's all legal, if they're poor, if you're hanging out with five poor people, you're more likely to be poor. If you're hanging like so again, that's why I have the coaches. The coaches have what I want. You should be hanging out with people that have what you want to grow to and become because that magnetism will pull you in that direction. So, and that goes with mindset. If you're hanging out with people that, you know, don't think that they're good people, don't say good things, don't rise the vibration and rise the energy when you're there, then it's just that much harder to grow. I'm not going to say you can't, but it's that much harder for your spirit and your energy to grow to, your maximum capacity, which we never reach, but we stretch, right? We
We
stretch
grow,
and
we
we stretch.
try.
Yeah. Well, and then the minute that we get where we want to be and we're placate, then you go backwards. Our souls are like unlimited energy. And so if we're not constantly growing, then we go the other way. So the minute you get placate or comfortable, something's going to happen. The universe is going to teach you a lesson. And so that is another big one. I was comfortable. I could teach anything in criminal justice. Throw me in a room, give me a subject, I could teach it. And I loved what I was doing, but I wasn't growing.
Hmm.
And so here's your sign, here's your lesson.
Yeah.
And through freaking pain and suffering do we grow. I've even, of all the students that I've taught, your at-risk population, underserved, impoverished, some of them came from prison, some of them, man, I love them. The more crap people have gone through, the more like authentic and understanding. And I had students that were, rich, white, privileged. They have their own baggage, I'm not saying it's perfect because it's different, but there's just a caliber of character that's different when people have really gone through the trenches, literal and figurative, and who they become, who they choose to become. Because I even had some students that were veterans that wanted to keep that victim mindset, the PTSD, the again identity. I have another client. She identifies as ADD, and so it has to be like this. And I'm like, that's your story, honey. You
Yeah.
can release that story and not stay in the confines of that square. And so I really encourage people to think of like, what mindset do you have? What story do you have? Is it serving you or is it limiting you and keeping you in a box? And my brother-in-law said, there's boxes of what you say in public and what you say at home. He's like, you mix them up. And I'm like, why does there have to be boxes? Why am I not supposed to say something in public that I'm only supposed to say at home? Because I just want everybody to know the truth. And so the minute we put boxes on ourselves, we're our biggest captor.
So
So I try to live box
powerful.
free. And if I offend somebody, have a conversation. I don't mean it. It's your baggage.
Well, and we all have our own lenses. I mean,
Yeah,
psychology, if anybody is listening has taken any sort of psychology courses, we all have our own limiting beliefs and we all have our belief systems that we filter everything through. So sometimes someone may say something, we hear something completely differently, and our reaction is coming from whatever's going on internally with our own self, not from what was actually said. And I think that's a really powerful reminder.
right. Right. One sister taught me like 15 years ago, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. You can say you're a really bad dog, and your dog's gonna wag their tail. But if you're a good dog, it's not
Gonna
gonna
give you
sound good.
eyes and you're gonna crumble.
Yeah. Yeah. So I say the brutally honest truth, but I say it with love. And if everything that you're doing, or as much as possible, if you're doing it with love, that's another lesson I learned along the way, is to really try before I respond or act or not react, because reacting is not productive. Um, Taking that breath and responding with love versus my baggage, right? Because I did a post that really resonated with, like those 16 and 17 and 18-year-olds, they know it all, right, parents? And so when they know it all and you have no clue because they've been on this earth for 16 years and they're just pushing those buttons, like pause, take a breath. Like our breath is what heals our bodies. Our bodies are meant to heal. And the minute you get into breath work, it heals everything. Even in one split second, take that deep breath in, go inside you. What story is that know-it-all triggering? And respond with love. And you'll change your relationship in an instant. And that child just might listen to you because you treated them with love and compassion when they're being a little prick.
Power in the pause. I love it. So, if there's somebody listening to this episode right now and just wrapping up here, they are looking for advice. They're walking through a layoff season. They're scared one's coming. Maybe they've been through one in the past, but they're still healing through it. What would you want them to know? What would you want to say to them?
Go inside. Go inside and just really love that person. Have compassion for that person. We are our own best critics. At the gym every day, I'm recording a different gym buddy. Like, what do you love most about yourself, and what do you like struggle with? And inner criticism is a theme. And if we were to talk to ourselves the way we would talk to our best friend, the world might be a little better. So really think of how you're talking to yourself and go inside and have compassion, like have patience, have like we are all only doing the very best that we can in the moment where we are at. And so treat yourself like you would your best friend and give that person that love from the inside out, because you're the only one. You come first. I looked up book titles. I want to write a book, The Art of Selfishness, and how we all should be selfish, just as long as we're not hurting anybody else. And there is a book, The Art of Selfishness, already out there. But I have always put myself first as much as I possibly could over my kids, over my husband, over my mom, because like nobody else can do for me what I can do for me. And if I'm not whole and I'm not aligned, I can't help anybody else. I can't show up to be the best wife. I can't show up to be the best mom I can be. I can't show up to be the best daughter I can be. And so really and truly like cradle that inner child and just love yourself no matter how hard it is. The fake it till you make it is a thing. And so if you really are not feeling the love for yourself, start speaking love to yourself, and then your nervous system will start believing it. And just know, like, again, it happens for you, not to you. This life is what we make of it. And your mindset can bring you down or raise you up. And that is 100% human choice.
So
So,
powerful.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Adrienne. This has been amazing, and I hope that we will see you again, possibly in the Pink Slip Pavilion. But thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for showing up and sharing your story. I know it's going to impact somebody in the audience.
I hope and pray. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ashley.
Well, have you noticed a theme yet? Your mind is incredibly powerful. And if you've ever wondered how resilient you actually are as a human being, I hope this story will remind you that you are more resilient than you may even realize. If you want to connect with Adrienne because she inspired you, I do not blame you, and all of her contact information is in the description. And of course, don't miss out next Wednesday. We're here every Wednesday wearing pink or sitting on a pink couch because we're here to prove that pink slips can actually be blessings in disguise. See you soon.
This pink slips